What's going on, everybody? This is John Jake Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the Coach Grossman Dynasty here on NCAA 14, using that college football revamp, of course. And we're out here with our third game of the season and also our third road game of the year. We go on the road once again. This time taking on the UAB Blazers, who are currently 1-1 as of right now. We're undefeated, but at least on paper we should be heavily favored. We have B+ overall team, B+ offense, and a B defense. Meanwhile, UAB is C+s across the board. But even though Corso is rocking with us for this game, it's not something that we can go ahead and take for granted. UAB, they have some big wins in their program history. Of course, they just beat BYU, who was ranked in the top 15. That's their biggest win in school history. They did get blown out by Washington, but they did beat FCS, so that's how they got their first win of the year. We took on a Power 5 opponent. We barely won that. Looked a lot better against San Jose State. We'll see if we can keep that going. But that being said, got a good game or a good episode for you guys in store today. Gonna play this game, and then we're gonna check in on your custom recruits to see how their recruit process is going. Should be a good one, so make sure you go ahead, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you have to be brand new. Let's go ahead and get on the field, Sally. See if we can go to work and get another blowout win potentially. Let's get it done, boys. Alright, boys, so we actually went ahead and won the coin toss, so that does mean that we're going to give UAB the ball first as we miss, and here comes Weatherspoon down the sideline, ends up being pushed out of bounds eventually by A.J. Hamilton. But what a run to start this game for the UAB Blazers as they go back to him, and Weatherspoon almost getting to that first down marker again. He's certainly off to a really hot start. We'll see if they make it 3 times in a row. He is in the backfield. They go to him for a third time, and we do a little bit better of containing him, but he will still end up picking up the first down anyways. So now a 2nd and 12 coming up, but we got a flag on the field though, and it's gonna be a false start on the center for UAB. So that will go ahead and make it a 3rd and 20. As now Yates will drop back. He's going to try to get it to his receiver and Lee Weatherspoon. But we got that thing locked up extremely well. And the Blazers will be forced to punt this football away. So now we jump late into the first quarter. A little bit of a slow start here for our offense, but we finally break out a pretty big play downfield. It's Timmy McClain who does take it down the sideline for 22, as it will set up a play action on 1st and 10, but Timmy McClain gets wrapped up from behind. It's Jalen Malaya who is able to win off of a double team. Still getting to our quarterback with ease. We can't be having any of that now, as it makes it 2nd and 19. Just trying to pick up some more yards downfield, but an incompletion is going to make this 3rd down extremely difficult to pick up. Just going to play it safe. See if Brian Brittle can do anything with it, but only a 2-yard gain. So promising start to our drive with the read option, but we had to punt this football away again. This game is still all knotted up at 0 pieces. Both teams, Jamari Stewart almost had himself an interception, but he dropped the football. In a 2nd and 10 because of it. They'll think twice before running a halfback screen again, but Lee Weatherspoon continues to shred our defense early, already with over 50 yards on the ground, as it takes it to another 1st and 10, as Yates gonna hand it on to Weatherspoon a 3rd time, breaks a tackle down on the outside and will be brought down from behind. But missed tackles being an early issue for us here, as they now find ourselves in Southern Florida territory. And look at this. We actually have a pass now. Fred Ferrier II gets his first catch of the day. And it sets up a 3rd and short for the Blazers. As Yates will drop back. He's got some time in the pocket. Looking to the right-hand side. Looking for Harrison. But he drops the ball over on the sideline. So UAB is actually going to go ahead and attempt this field goal. It's a incredible 50 or 60 yard field goal. Either way, misses it really badly. As we go check on a quick studio update within the American Conference. And right now we're seeing Tulane up on SMU 35-26 right now. But looking back at our game, definitely a little bit more offense going in that one than over here. We'll see if Batty can go ahead and get the goose egg off the scoreboard. A gain of 13 should help with that. But that might very well end this first quarter. This is actually going to be the last play of the first. As Batty gets another run, gets away from one tackler somehow, picks up a gain of 6 though. But yeah, man, a whole quarter of football played, and no one has even scored yet. We'll see if we can change that here in this second quarter. As we start this quarter in UAB territory, we're going to hand it off to Brian Batty, who's going to try and take it to the outside and gets it to about the 30-yard line. 16-yard gain for Brian Batty. Let's see if we can get this passing attack going as well. It's been a little bit of a struggle bus for him. We will check it down to Gunnar Greenwald, who's going to try to fight through 3 separate UAB defenders. Still managing to pick up a first down in the process. He's a tough tight end. I love him. And I'm going to also love this throw, except it's almost intercepted. Oh my. That was a fantastic leap. That could have very well been a touchdown if it wasn't for that leap. But instead, 3rd and 12, trying to fit it in a very tight hole. We're actually very fortunate that it was not intercepted. But you know what? We're going to go for it here on 4th and 12 because it's a little bit out of our kicker's range. So here we go. 4th and 12. Trying to pick up the first down, but Gunnar Greenwald drops the pass. It probably wouldn't have been a first down even if he did catch it, but throwing it behind him certainly did not help whatsoever. But UAB could not do anything after the turnover on down, so they will be playing this football right back over to us as John Archie's going to get his hands on the ball. He's got some nice space to work with, and of course it's going to be a flag. And so the great punt return that we just saw from Archie, it's going to be gone like a girl in a country song, and it knocks us back quite a bit as well, all the way back to the 33-yard line. But still good position despite that. As we'll go to work now as Timmy McClain's going to take it on the read option to start this drive. A gain of 11 is now 3rd and short coming up. Got a 5-wide set out on the field as McClain drops back. He's looking over the right-hand side and finds Jimmy Horn Jr. down the sideline. Good for 42 yards. But let's see if we can finish the job and get it in the end zone. Screen to Brian Battle, who fights for the end zone, but is going to be just marked short. And so we did have to go ahead and settle for a field goal. But that being said, we got another 1st and 10 for UAB, but it's fumbled. Adams is going to recover it. And the first turnover of the game is forced by the Southern Florida defense, keeping his eyes on Kirby Yates the entire time as Jalen Stokes blew him up. And so we get the football right back. Let's see if we can make this a 2-score game. As we'll check it out to Brian Batty to start the drive. 5-yard gain. We will end up taking our second timeout. So only one more timeout remaining as we will go into a 5-wide set. Looking to the right-hand side and finding Sincere Brown. That will get us into the red zone. But we will move into a no-huddle quickly. Trying to get this ball snapped quickly. McClain dropping back over the middle. Finds Gunnar Greenwald in the end zone. Touchdown, Southern Florida. And how about that? Our offense finally finding some rhythm. We were able to go ahead take advantage of the forced fumble, and UAB or USF will actually take a 10-0 lead into the locker room as well. We will get the ball to start the second half. Let's see if we can really start pulling away in this third quarter. So the second half now officially getting underway here as, like I said, man, we won that coin toss, so getting the ball to start the second half as Brian Batty, he's got some space to work with on the outside, and of course there's yet another flag. Are you kidding me right now? Another great return that we had in special teams is ruined by a clipping penalty. You absolutely hate to see it. And look where we start off with this ball. Instead of at around midfield, we're starting at the 8-yard line. We have a lot of work to do before we even start to think about getting some points on this drive. But we got to make do with what we got as we have a 1st and 10 to work with. Trying to throw quickly to the left-hand side, and it's nearly intercepted. Joey Victors was on the case and did force that incompletion. So now a 3rd and long that we got. We tried to throw it to Sincere Brown, but Sincere Brown drops the pass. And that drive really was not necessarily going anywhere. So we had to punt this football away, and here comes the UAB offense, led by Lee Witherspoon, who gets another big run down the left-hand side. It's good for a gain of 14. He's closing in on a 100-yard day, averaging 6.9 yards per carry. Nice, as he continues to attack this the USF defense. Now 5 yards away from a 100-yard game. We'll see if they go to Lee Witherspoon again, but not likely on this 3rd and 8 as Kirby Yates drops back, throws over the middle, and finds his receiver, Brett Harris, for the 1st down. Only his 2nd catch of the day, but making it count and helping UAB get into field goal range as Yates scrambles over to the right-hand side, gets attacked from behind as Kyle Yates does manage to pick up 5 yards on the scramble. So now a 3rd and long coming up, and we decide to go ahead and send the blitz as Yates down the right-hand side looking for Mays, but Mays drops the pass. So UAB has to settle for a field goal, but they will get their very first points on the board regardless. So now the Southern Florida offense takes over, and it starts with a bang on this drive. Brian Batty with a 21-yard pickup on the ground. He's feeling really good, so we're going to go back to him. Handing it off to Batty again. Looking for the corner. He's got it. Gets to the 1st down marker once again. Another gain of 11. As he's also approaching 100 yards on the ground. As McClain drops back. Looking to the right, but Joey Victors read the hitch pattern. It's going to be intercepted. And Joey Victors gets the 1st turnover for the UAB defense. And it sets up the Blazers with an opportunity to potentially tie this football game up. We'll see if they can do just that as they hand it off to Witherspoon, but it gets lit up like a Christmas tree. There is a flag on the field, though, and it's going to be considered a holding penalty on Eli Ritchie. So it's going to go ahead and knock them back to roughly midfield, a little bit ahead of that, but 2nd and 20, Yates looking around, is going to throw it late, but he throws it into the hands of the middle linebacker, Nugent, who ran his eyes the whole time, and Grady Nugent gets a big turnover to stop the momentum of UAB, and the Bulls will still have the lead. We got to take a little bit better care of the football. That throw by McClain, not what we wanted to do necessarily, as McClain actually gets a ton of time behind the line of scrimmage, finally finds Jimmy Horn Jr. and does it with a gain of 30. Oh my. Let's see if we can follow that up with another big gain as we go play action. Looking over, finds Jimmy Horn Jr. again, and it's good for a gain of 11. as we get to a few plays later here. Facing a 3rd and long, though, as we'll set up the screen. Gonna actually throw it over the left-hand side. And, hey, Yusuf Terry certainly doing his best. He got some yardage, but gonna be short of the sticks. But it did make sure to set up an easy field goal attempt, which we did end up making. And Southern Florida will take a 13-3 lead as John Archie gets another kick return. This time, we actually didn't have any penalties, so shout out to our special teams for actually not having a penalty this time around. So great field position again after we force UAB to go 3 and out. As we go with the halfback screen, Batty bounces off one defender and gets across that 45-yard line. It's the 3rd catch of the day for Brian Batty. So now, 2nd and 7 coming, play action. McClain looking over the middle, finds Holden Willis over the middle of the field. He was wide butt naked open. It took him a little bit, but he does finally get his very first catch of the day. As McClain looks again, this time trying to get it out to Yusuf Terry, but Mac McWilliams breaks up that pass, and it will make it a 2nd and 10. As now, handing it off to Brian Batty. He's got a little space to work with, but he gets lit up, but doesn't fumble that football, though. He's a sure-handed running back, and it makes it 3rd and short. Batty, can he get to that 1st down marker? He's got the space to do it. Cut it outside and does manage to reach that 1st down marker. 1st down, Bulls. It's been a competitive defensive game so far. We're only up 13-3. Need to see those 4s in the chat as well as the comments section. Let's see our guys go to work. So let's go, baby. 4th quarter now officially underway. As I'm not necessarily liking what I'm seeing, so I'm going to be running a little slant pattern as well. Make sure we have an additional guy, and we find Holden Willis in the end zone. Touchdown! But of course it gets called back because there is offensive pass interference on Jimmy Horn Jr. That is a 10-yard penalty. So now a 2nd and 19 coming up, trying to get to, it looks like the 5-yard line. And we find Holden Willis again, and he gets us in a much more manageable 3rd down. Let's see if we can find the end zone here. McClain dropping back, looking, finds Gunnar Greenwald for a gain of 9. It's another 1st down for USF. As it sets up a 1st and goal, looking for the end zone through the air. McClain looking right-hand side, and it's in. Touchdown, USF. As Yusuf Terry winning his route on the outside, and Timmy McClain was able to find him in the back of the end zone. As the Southern Florida Bulls will take a 20-3 lead. As now it forces the UAB offense to try to respond here. Kirby gonna actually get sacked in the backfield, and that was a covered sack. Nobody to go to the football with. Couldn't throw it away because he was inside the pocket. As Yates tries again on a 2nd and 17, and I don't know how that pass came down, but Friend Ferrier to 2nd, despite heavy coverage, came down with the catch. So now a 3rd and 2 coming up, and they do go with the play action, dumping it off to Duncan, and he makes a nice move on the outside and does pick up 18 on that one. Nice job making a couple of our defenders miss. Gotta give respect where respect is due, of course. As Kirby Yates keeps the drive alive with that smart decision, but this Southern Florida defense is simply relentless as Brandon Adams is going to get on the act. He gets his 1st sack of the day. Is now 2nd and 16. Kirby dropping back. He's looking to the right-hand side. Going to float it in there for Rashawn Cox, who gets that 10 toes down movement, making sure those toes are in before getting out of bounds. Is now 3rd and short. Going to be a run to Lee Witherspoon, but simply nowhere to go as we did a fantastic job of rallying to the football. A.J. Hamilton finished it off with his 6th tackle of the game. And it makes it 4th down. UAB forcing to go for it, but it's going to be intercepted by Jamari Stewart. And how about that for the user action, baby? Let's go, man. Jamari Stewart making some things happen. Another turnover forced. And it makes it another. Well, we were going to get the football anyways because we had that play snuffed up. Let's be real for a quick second. But we got slightly better field position now that we forced them to go ahead and give us the interception. So that was cool to see. Because now we take over following the turnover that just occurred. And we got a 3rd and short coming up. Brian Batty could not reach the first down marker. And we'll see what we can do here on a 3rd and short. McLean dropping back. He's looking good. Go ahead and just dump it off to Jimmy Horn Jr., who almost was able to get past that one defender that was right on the heels. He's actually just short of a 100-yard game as well. As we hand it off to McLean. Read option, but he gets lit up by the safety. Does not fumble the football, though. Is now 2nd and 5. Got an opportunity to take a little bit of time off the clock potentially, but they were ready for that bubble screen. So, going to make a couple of quick adjustments at the line of scrimmage. Making sure Timmy McLean and company is ready to go. Right-hand side, and it's in the end zone. Holden Lewis winning his one-on-one matchup on the outside. It's another touchdown for Southern Florida, as we are really starting to go ahead and pull away in this game. Now a 24-point lead. And that basically is going to negate the running game for UAB. Kirby forced to throw it on the right-hand side, but it's going to be intercepted again. This time, Jelani Stokes, who could almost get it into the end zone. He was right there. But Jalen Stokes is going to end up being tripped at around the 5-yard line. Should be an easy touchdown for us to grab, considering we're starting basically right on the goal line. And Timmy McLean, he's just going to take care of the rest. Going to run it in the end zone. Nobody even touches him. He's got a clean jersey at least on that drive. And that is going to do it here. We end up taking care of business against the UAB Blazers, winning this one by a final score of 41-3. It was a good road win, taking care of business at another team stadium. And listen, it was a little bit ugly at first. It took a very long time for our offense to get going. But once it did, it was unstoppable, and our defense stepped up as well. Let's get it. But listen, man, I know that it looks like it was an absolute blowout, but the game, honestly, to me, felt a lot closer than what the score actually said. You know, most of our damage was really done in that 4th quarter. The defense did play really amazing, though. 3 for 15 on 3rd down conversions. We got 4 turnovers out there on the field as well, so that felt really good. I'm surprised that we only ended up with 4 penalties. It did really seem like that we had a lot more than just 4 penalties, if that makes sense. You know, given, you know, just wiping out huge return after huge return over on special teams. But, I mean, you know, we found our rhythm in the 2nd half, and we were able to get something going. But with that being said, let's go ahead and check out the stats for our guys real quick. So here we go. We actually got Cartavius Marsh on the field for the very first time. He is a senior red shirt. Ends up going 1 for 1 for 9 yards, so not much action for him. But Timmy McLean did look pretty solid overall. I mean, first half was rough, but it was rough for a lot of people, to be honest. You know, for our offense, 3 touchdowns in that 2nd half. Got an interception, though, just off a great play by the defender. But led us to another big victory, so, I mean, you can't really complain about that. Running game, Brian Battle looked really good in his return back. 24 carries, 115 yards. Did not find the end zone, though. Timmy McLean, on the other hand, did find the end zone. He was 8 for 23. And then Ben Archie also found the end zone as well. 5 carries, 69 yards. Did that, I believe, in garbage time as well when we had the backups in. So that was a really cool thing to see. Now, for our receivers, we did not have a 100-yard receiver, but we were really close with Jimmy Horn Jr. He ended up with 5 catches for 96 yards. if he did have that drop, he would have had 100 yards, but that just simply didn't happen. He did not get into the end zone either. That belongs to Yusef Terry, who scored off of a slant pattern. Gunnar Greenwald, who also did his damage on the slant. And then Holden Willis actually won on the curl route as well. None of them really doing much outside their touchdown catches, but when you score points, that's really all that matters at the end of the day. Now, for our defense had 3 different guys tied at the top in terms of tackles. Jalen Stokes, AJ Hamilton, and Grady Nugent all lead the team in tackles today with 6. Usually when your defensive backs are out here leading the team in tackles, it's not a good sign. But that being said, though, this team was flying all over the place, making sure that there wasn't anything going through the air, especially on the ground at times. Got a few big plays, but that's to be expected sometimes. We got 4 turnovers as well, too. Jamari Stewart got that user pick with him. Grady Nugent we got an interception with. That was off of a scramble to the right. And then Jalen Stokes got his hands on the ball, too. He almost took that thing to a crib. We almost got a pick 6, but that wasn't quite meant to be. We did also have 4 sacks as well. Brandon Adams getting a sack. Jamari Stewart got a sack with him. Marvin Jackson got a sack. And Todd Walden got his hands on the quarterback too. 4 sacks. That's really good to see. And then Jalen Stokes, again, almost had that pick 6. He also forced a fumble in this one. Brandon Adams was the guy that did get the fumble recovery. So, great day for defense. Forcing more turnovers than UAB scored in points. That's really awesome. And I'm hoping, we can find a way to keep that up. Maybe not every game, but, that should always be our goal. So before we go ahead and do a quick preview of the next team that we're going to be going up against, let's take a quick look at the custom prospects that my team is not personally going after. First person that I want to talk about, we have the #1 recruit in the state of Idaho. We have Joel Nayasiba. Oh man, if y'all can let me know down in the comments how to pronounce that, you let me know, because that's a tough one. We're gonna call him Joel, but he's a #2 running back in this recruiting class, and he's got some Power 5 teams that are interested in him, but one team is above the rest right now. He has a scholarship offer from Ohio State. It's his only offer for the time being. Should be very likely that he ends up playing for the Ohio State Buckeyes, and should be a great 5-star pickup for Ohio State moving forward. Meanwhile, in the state of New York, there are actually 3 separate prospects that I wanted to talk about. First, we have Caden Doman. He's the #3 prospect in New York. Currently is listed as a 3-star quarterback from Lackawanna, New York. 7th, considered a pocket passer. Right now, he has 2 scholarship offers, Rutgers and Kentucky, with Syracuse showing interest as well. But that being said, should be very likely that he does end up with the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Nice little Power 5 offer. We'll see if he can bring Rutgers back to prominence. It's going to be a tough challenge for him if he decides to accept it. Now, another quarterback that is in the state of New York that is actually the younger brother of Jonathan Thousand. He was somebody who, by the way, signed back in season 1 with the Buffalo Bulls. Now, Julius Thousand, he's a quarterback, 6'6", 199 pounds, and also kind of under-recruited by, these local schools. Same thing with Jonathan Thousand. But that being said, though, he does also have interest from Rutgers, so we could potentially see 2 custom prospects go to the same school in the same year at the same position. That would be really interesting. We haven't had that before yet, so we'll definitely have to monitor that, see if it actually ends up turning into fruition or not. Now, at the halfback position, and the last person that I wanted to talk about was Daniel Parcell. He was the teammate of Jonathan Thousand as well, but ended up going the JUCO route. He is a 3-star prospect right now, 109th running back in this recruiting class, but no one's really showing him love yet. He's got schools like Notre Dame, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, some Power 5 schools, but no one has officially reached out to him quite yet. We'll see if that changes in the recruiting process, because he is a really good player, listed at 75 overall. He could at least be a good depth piece. Now, kicking it back out west, we actually have our first special teams related player in terms of custom prospects. We got Danny Daniel, who is a meager 5'5", 160 pounds from Okura, Utah. Right now, same thing for him, not getting recruited, but the recruiting process for kickers and punters a little bit different than what you would see for, say, other players, skill positions, defensive, offensive linemen, basically any other position besides kicker or punter. No interest right now, but I would not be surprised if things pick up a little bit, considering teams need kickers and punters at the end of the day, and teams lift on their first, second, and option. Danny Daniel should be getting looked at. I mean, he's the 19th best kicker in the recruiting class. So that brings us to our final custom prospect that we're not looking at right now. It's Tyler McMullen, smaller guy, 5'10", 180 pounds, but that being said, he is still a 4-star prospect despite that, though it looks like he might not stay in state, might not go to Wisconsin. Matter of fact, he's actually most likely to go to Missouri over in the SEC. So that would be really interesting, having someone in Big Ten country going down to the SEC. Small town kid. We'll see if he can shine on that bright stage, seeing as he probably will end up signing with the Missouri Tigers. So next episode, we will go ahead and play our very first conference game as the head coach for the USF Bulls. We're undefeated right now, but going to be taking on a solid squad in Tulane in the next episode. They are very similarly matched as us, so it will be an interesting matchup for us. I'm really excited for it. And if you're really excited for it as well, I need you guys to go ahead and do me a favor. Smash that like button for me. Hit me up down in the comments below. And also, if you're brand new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's free, and you can always unsubscribe later. But with that being said, this is John Jake Gaming on the mic, signing off. I'm hoping you're all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.